Hello everybody, I am Samshiva Rao, Assistant Professor of Maths, SRN Business Arts and Science College, Khammam. How are you all? I think all are you safe? Hope all are you safe. Actually, in these days, COVID cases are rising more and more. Situation is very panic outside. Don't go outside, be safe. Actually, in these days, I am observing that many people roaming outside for small reasons. That's not right. Outside situation is very embarrassing situation is there. So be safe. Your family safety is your responsibility. Safety, your safety and your family safety both are important. So only it is unavoidable situation go outside, otherwise don't go outside. So another thing, whenever you go outside, you must wear mask. Wearing a mask and in a proper way you should wear the mask. Some people wearing the mask but they are not using in a proper way. You must have wear the mask in a proper way. Keep distance from others. At least maintain 4-5 feet distance from others. Don't use lift. Whenever you want to go upstairs, just use staircases. Don't use lift. So, and also use sanitizer always. Whenever you go outside, when you take something or give something, you must rub your hands with sanitizer. Use quality sanitizer, alcohol based sanitizer. So, and also when you come to home, you must wash your hands thoroughly with soap. Soap is best for avoiding coronavirus. Therefore, whenever you come to home from outside, wash your legs, wash your hands thoroughly for at least 1 minute. So, and under my suggestion, along with the mask, better to use a cap. Cap also useful because it protects your head. So, use cap and mask both. It is better. And also take balanced diet. In these days, some people are saying take this and take that, take more spices, like that. No, that's not right. Actually, you should not take anything more. You should maintain balanced diet. Take balanced diet. Fruits, vegetables, at least protein food. Take protein food. Less fats, more protein. And also less rice, more pulses. Take protein food, take pulses, take fruits, take fresh vegetables, maintain balanced diet, and also exercise is very important. Do exercise. At least you must do exercise for 1 hour, at least 5 days a week. At least 5 days a week, 1 hour per day. Along with exercise, you should walk also. Whenever it is possible, just go on foot. Just walk. Don't use bike for small distances. Don't use bike or anything for small distances. Make a habit of walking. Whenever it is possible, walk. That's very helpful to our body. And also do proper exercise. This is very important. Then only your immunity will develop. Some people say take this food, it will develop immunity. Some people say take that food for your better immunity. And also some are saying that this is immunity booster. No, that's not right. Balanced diet and proper exercise. With these two things, your immunity will develop. That is the main thing. Okay? Be safe, stay safe. Okay. Now I will come to my lesson. Today our topic is sequences and series. Out of sequence series, today main our topic is sequences. Today I am going to discuss the definition of sequence with some examples and the main property of sequence, that is convergence of sequence, and also give some examples to convergence of sequence and I am going to prove one important theorem related to convergence of sequence. Okay, let us go to the topic. Okay, right. Sequence definition. So let us see the definition of a sequence. This is the definition of a sequence. A sequence is nothing but a function. It's nothing but a function from the set n belongs to Z such that n greater than or equal to m. So what is the set n belongs to Z such that n greater than or is equal to m? That means n should be an integer, n should be an integer, and n should be greater than a positive integer m. Therefore, we can write this set as n greater than or equal to m means m, m plus 1, m plus 2, so on. m plus 1, m plus 2, so on. So, from this set to R, sequence is a function from the set m, comma, m plus 1, comma, m plus 2, comma, so on to R. For example, if m is equal to 4, then 4, 5, 6, so on. Sequence is set a function from the set 4, 5, 6, so on to R like this. So you can see here n belongs to n greater than or equal to m, m plus 1, m plus 2, so on to R. It is denoted by, this is the symbol to denote a sequence, Sn such that n is equal to m to infinity. That means whenever n is equal to m, Sm is the term. Whenever n is equal to m plus 1, Sm plus 1 is the term. Whenever n is equal to m plus 2, Sm plus 2 is the term. That means, suppose here it is m, this is m plus 1 like this. Term related to m is Sm. Term related to m plus 1 is Sm plus 1. So on like this. This is the sequence. Sequence is a function from this set to real number set R. Suppose if n is equal to m is equal to 1, if m is equal to 1, then the sequence will become Sn such that n is equal to 1 to infinity. Sn such that n is equal to 1 to infinity. This can be written as Sn n belongs to Z or simply Sn. Usually we take m is equal to 1. So in general case we define the sequence as a function from n to R. N is the set of natural numbers, R is the set of real numbers. In general case, we define the sequence is a function. The sequence Sn is a function from natural number set n to real number set R. So, we can write like this. We can express we can represent with this Venn diagram. This is the set n and this is the set R. N is the set of natural numbers 1, 2, 3, so on n. So according to the sequence, the image of 1 is S1. This is said to be first term. The image of 2 is S2. This is said to be second term of the sequence. The image of 3 is S3. This is third term of the sequence. The image of n is Sn. This is the nth term of the sequence. Thus, in expanded form, sequence can be written as, actually shortly sequence can be written as Sn n is equal to 1 to infinity or simply Sn. In expanded form, it can be written as S1 comma S2 comma S3 comma so on like this. Next, examples. 1 by n square n belongs to n is a sequence. 1 by n square is said to be the nth term of the sequence. 1 by n square is said to be the nth term of the sequence in this case. The sequence can be written like this in expanded form because whenever n is equal to 1, then S1 is equal to 1 by 1 square is equal to 1. If n is equal to 2, then S2 is equal to 1 by 2 square, this is equal to 1 by 4. If n is equal to 3, S3 is equal to 1 by 3 square, 1 by 9, like this. Therefore, on expanding the sequence, we will get terms like this: 1 by 1 square, 1 by 2 square, 1 by 3 square, 1 by 4 square, like this. That means 1 by 4, 1 by 9, so on, like this. So here the range of the sequence is, the set containing the terms of the sequence is said to be the range of sequence. What is the range of the sequence? The set containing the terms of the sequence is said to be the range of sequence. Here this is the expanded form of the sequence, and this is the set of range of the sequence. Here we can see the difference. Here we use this bracket, and for the range of sequence we here and for the range of the sequence we use set braces like this. Second example, if an is equal to minus 1 whole power n, then this is a sequence. So the expanded form of the sequence is like this, because if n is 1, minus 1 whole power 1 is equal to minus 1. If n is equal to minus 1 whole square is equal to 1. If n is equal to 3, minus 1 whole cube is equal to minus 1. If n is equal to 4, minus 1 whole to the power of 4 is equal to 1. Therefore, the expanded form of the sequence will be like this: 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1. Whenever n is even number, the term is 1. Whenever n is odd number, the term is minus 1. The range of the sequence is 1 comma minus 1. Range of the sequence is 1 comma minus 1. Because only the number 1 and minus 1 is there. It is repeating again and again. So the range is just 1 and minus 1. So I will explain in another way. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 1, minus 1. 2, 1, 4, 1, 6, 1. Image of 2 is minus 1 whole square. This is equal to 1. Image of 4 is minus 1 whole to the power of 4. This is equal to 1. Similarly, image of every even number is 1, and image of every odd number is minus 1. Sequence will be represented like this. This is another example of a sequence: 1 plus 1 by n whole power n. 1 plus 1 by n whole power n means, by taking n is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on, like this. If n is equal to 1, then the term is 2. 1 plus 1 by 1 whole power 1 means 2. If n is equal to, then the term is 1 plus 1 by 2 whole square, 3 by 2 whole square. If n is equal to 3, 1 plus 1 by 3 whole to the power of 4, 4 by 3 whole cube. So here it is 2, 3 by 2 whole square is 2.25, 4 by 3 whole square is whole cube is equal to 2.3704, so on, like this. This is the expanded form of the sequence. Next, convergence of a sequence. This is very important concept regarding sequence. Convergence of a sequence. When we say the sequence is convergent, I will give the definition here. A sequence Sn of real numbers is said to converge to a real number S. S is a real number. A sequence Sn is said to converge to S if this property is satisfied. That is, for every epsilon greater than 0, there is a number n such that n greater than n implies modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon. So here we have to understand this. here we have to observe that Sn is a sequence, S is a real number, S belongs to R. We say that this sequence is converges to S. If the below property is satisfied, this is the condition for convergence. It's very important, keep this in mind. This is the condition for convergence, that is, for every epsilon greater than 0, there should be a number n. How? Whenever n greater than n, modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon. So, in this case, I will explain this. We know that modulus x minus a less than double implies a minus epsilon less than x less than a plus epsilon. In my previous video, I have explained how this is derived. Modulus x minus a less than epsilon double implies a minus epsilon less than x less than a plus epsilon. This double implies x belongs to a minus epsilon, a plus epsilon, open interval. X belongs to a minus epsilon, a plus epsilon, open interval. So, how this is happened, we can easily understand. Suppose this is A. This is a minus epsilon. This is a plus epsilon. Suppose x is any element of this open interval, x is any element of this open interval, then we must have the distance between x and a is below less than epsilon. Actually, this is equal to epsilon and this is equal to epsilon. Here, epsilon is the radius of this neighborhood of a. So, whenever x lies in this interval like this, then the distance between x and a is less than epsilon. So, that means whenever x minus a modulus less than epsilon, this means distance between x and a is less than epsilon. This is possible whenever x belongs to the open interval a minus epsilon, a plus epsilon, that is nothing but the neighborhood of a. Whenever x is an element of this neighborhood, then only this is possible. The distance between x and a must be less than epsilon. Whenever the distance between x and a is less than epsilon, then this is possible only x is in the neighborhood of a. So, here in this case, this can be written as Sn belongs to S minus epsilon, comma epsilon, open interval. That means Sn is in the epsilon neighborhood of S. So, for every epsilon greater than 0, we can find a natural number n such that all terms coming after this n must lie in the neighborhood of S, epsilon neighborhood of S. Here actually, whenever epsilon is decreasing, then n will increase. Whenever epsilon decreases, then n will increase. For example, that means, once again I will explain. So, for every epsilon greater than 0, how small it may be, we can find a natural number such that all the terms of the sequence coming after n satisfy this property. That means, for example, S1, S2, so on, Sn plus 1, so on. All the terms Sn plus 1, Sn plus 2, so on, satisfy this property. This property means all the terms which are coming after S capital N, all the terms coming after S capital N satisfy this property. That means all they lie between the neighborhood of S, that is open interval S minus epsilon, S plus epsilon. For every epsilon greater than 0, we can find a natural number such that all the terms of the sequence after Sn, all the terms of the sequence after Sn lie in neighborhood of S. Okay, then we say that the sequence Sn is converges to S. In this case, we use this symbol to show that sequence Sn converges to S. Sn converges to S as n tends to infinity, or limit Sn is equal to S. Whenever Sn is a convergent sequence, then the limit of Sn is equal to a finite value S. On the other hand, whenever the limit of Sn is a finite value S, then the sequence is said to converge to the real number S. If a sequence is not convergent, then we say that the sequence is divergent. Note, here n depends on epsilon. Actually, n is inversely proportional to epsilon. Whenever epsilon decreases, n increases, n will increase. Whenever epsilon decreases, n will increase. So, n will have to be large if epsilon is small. N will have to be large if epsilon is small. See this. N greater than n implies modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon. For example, see this. N greater than n, modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon. This implies Sn belongs to S minus epsilon, S plus epsilon. This is another concept you have to keep in mind. So, examples. The sequence 1 by n converges to 0. How can you say the sequence 1 by n converges to 0? Because we know that limit n tends to infinity, 1 by n is equal to 0. Whenever n tends to infinity, 1 by n tends to 0, because 1 by infinity is equal to 0. So we can say the limit 1 by n converges to 0. We can see in this table also, if n is equal to 1, then 1 by n is equal to 1. If n is equal to, then 1 by n is equal to 1 by 2, that is 0.5. If n is equal to 3, then 1 by n is equal to 0.3333, so on. If n is equal to 55, then 1 by n is equal to 0.0181818, so on. If n is equal to 100, then 1 by n is equal to 0.01. Similarly, if n is equal to 1 to 5, suppose n is equal to 1257, then 1 by n will become 0.000796 approximately. If n is equal to 1 lakh, then 1 by n will become 0.00001. From this, what we can understand? If n value increases, then 1 by n decreases and approaches to 0. As n is increasing, 1 by n is decreasing and approaching to 0. You can see here in this diagram. For example, see this. Here this is 0 and here this is 1. If n is equal to 1, then 1 by n is equal to 1. If n is equal to, then 1 by n is equal to 1 by 2. If n is equal to 3, then 1 by n is equal to 1 by 3. That means 0.333, so on. So if n is equal to 1 lakh, then 1 by n is equal to 0.001. So here we can understand that as n tends to infinity, 1 by n is tending to 0. Therefore, the sequence is convergent and the sequence converges to 0. Another example. The sequence nth root n converges to 1. Nth root n means nth root n is nothing but n to the power of 1 by n. We know that limit n tends to infinity, n to the power of 1 by n is equal to 1. Therefore, the sequence nth root n converges to real number 1. You can see in the table, if n is equal to 1, then n to the power of 1 by n is equal to 1. If n is equal to, then n to the power of 1 by n is equal to 1.414. If n is equal to 1000, then 1 by n is equal to 1.00693. If n is equal to 10 lakh, suppose 1 by n is equal to 1.0000138, so on approximately. So from this table we can easily understand that whenever n value is increasing, then the value of n to the power of 1 by n is approaching 1, tending to 1. Therefore, from this table also we can easily understand that whenever n is increasing means limit n tends to infinity, n to the power of 1 by n is equal to 1. Okay, right. Next, Bn is equal to 1 plus 1 by n whole power n. Then Bn converges to E is equal to 2.71828. Then Bn converges to E is equal to 2.71828. So, the sequence 1 plus 1 by n whole power n is convergent sequence, and it converges to the value E. We know that the value of E is nothing but it's an irrational number which is equal to 2.71828, so on. So the sequence 1 plus 1 by n whole power n converges to E, because already we know that limit n tends to infinity, 1 plus 1 by n whole power n is equal to E. E is an irrational number which is equal to 2.71828, so on. Therefore, the sequence 1 plus 1 by n whole power n is convergent and it converges to E. A sequence converges to a unique limit. This is very, very important theorem. So, what does it mean? The limit of a sequence is unique. That means, if a sequence is convergent, it cannot converge to more than one limit. Every sequence, if it is converged, it converges to a single limit point or unique limit. We prove this theorem in contradictory method. If possible, suppose that Sn converges to S and Sn converges to T. If possible, suppose that Sn2 are two different limits of Sn, the sequence Sn. That means, if possible, suppose that Sn converges to S and Sn converges to T. If Sn converges to S, if you consider epsilon greater than 0, then epsilon by 2 is also greater than 0. If Sn converges to S, then this property is satisfied. Then we can find a number n1 such that by the definition of convergence, if Sn converges to S, we can find a real number n1, we can find a natural number n1 such that n greater than n1 implies modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon by 2. For example, whenever Sn converges to S, for every epsilon greater than 0, we can find a real number n such that n greater than n implies modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon. In the similar way, since Sn converges to S, for this number epsilon by 2, we can find a number n1 such that n greater than n1 implies modulus Sn minus S less than epsilon by 2. If Sn converges to t, we can find another number n2 such that n greater than n2 implies modulus Sn minus t less than epsilon by 2. So here modulus Sn minus s less than epsilon by 2 whenever n greater than n1, modulus Sn minus t less than epsilon by 2 whenever n greater than n2. So now we will take like this. Let n is equal to maximum of n1, n2. Here there are two natural numbers, one is n1 and another is n2. So suppose that n is the maximum of these two. Then whenever n greater than n, from this what we can understand, since n is the maximum of these two, we can say n greater than or is equal to n1 and n greater than or is equal to n2. For n greater than n, these two are true, because whenever n greater than n, since capital N greater than n1 and capital N greater than n2, whenever n greater than n, we can easily see that n greater than or is equal to n1 and also n greater than or is equal to n2. N greater than n1 and n greater than n2. Since n greater than n1, see this, since n greater than n1, we can write modulus Sn minus s less than epsilon by 2, and also since n greater than n2, we will have modulus Sn minus t less than epsilon by 2. Now take this, modulus s minus t is equal to, you can write like this, because on cancellation of minus Sn plus n, we will get modulus Sn minus t, modulus s minus t. Therefore, you can write modulus s minus t is equal to modulus s minus Sn plus Sn minus t. This can be written as less than or equal to modulus s minus Sn plus modulus Sn minus t. This is less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. Since modulus s minus Sn less than epsilon by 2 and modulus Sn minus t less than epsilon by 2, we will have this will be less than epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. This is equal to epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2 is equal to epsilon. Therefore, modulus s minus t is less than epsilon. Modulus s minus t is less than epsilon. Therefore, this implies modulus s minus t. So therefore, we can say what we got, modulus s minus t is less than epsilon. Modulus s minus t is less than epsilon for every epsilon greater than 0. For every epsilon greater than 0, this is 2. Modulus s minus t less than epsilon. This implies, we know that if modulus x is less than for every epsilon greater than 0, then we will have, this is nothing but x is equal to 0. Therefore, here modulus s minus t less than epsilon, for every epsilon greater than 0, we will have s minus t is equal to 0. This implies s is equal to t. This implies s is equal to t. Therefore, it follows that s is equal to t. S is equal to t means what we assumed? We assumed that, we have assumed that s and t are two different limits of the sequence Sn. But finally we proved that s is equal to t. That means the sequence converges to a unique limit. It is not possible to have two different limits for a sequence. Whenever a sequence is converged, then it must converge to a unique limit. The limit of a sequence is unique. This is what we have proved here. Thank you. Thank you very much.